and says the wrong thing or treats us in a way that brings up this old feeling, no matter how much it's buried, you will find it rising to the surface. So that's why I want people to know it doesn't have to be that way. You just have to become aware when it's there. Wow, if I don't want this to be who I am, then you would see someone like me, so we get rid of it.
That's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
And as those layers of the emotions or the physical or whatever pain that the person has digested,
exactly,
you get that out, so it's open for the healthy, for their highest potential self to come forward.
What people don't understand, our range of emotions go from here to here. Here's the low stuff, here's the high stuff. Let's make it easy. Let's make the halfway point is where all below the halfway point is the negative or the unhappiness, and everything above is the good stuff and the happiness. So if we go from here to here, and if this down is the unhappy, people think that this is normal. They think, well, I'm a human being on this planet, and being angry is just part of our human experience, or hatred or resentment, even though I don't like those and I don't like how I feel when it comes up, but it's normal. It's normal. I'm a human being on this planet. We can't avoid all of this. So we have this whole range of emotions at any given time during the day. I'm going to do my best to keep this at bay, bury it if you're really good, or if you're not and you don't care, you'll let all of these ranges come out at all times. Whereas someone who's a little more conscious and says, even though it's part of the human experience, I'm not going to let this stuff get unleashed, the low stuff, the stuff that's painful, negative. I'm not going to dump this on someone else, which thank God.
Yes.
Thank God, because it's very toxic. It's very toxic when we're spewing negativity. You can walk into a room. Have you ever had this, Gigi? You walk into a room and you can tell there's been a bad argument.
Oh yes, the energy in there. Yes, it's heavy and it's dark and you are so uncomfortable.
Oh, it feels like it's permeated into the walls. I have a friend who's a realtor, and she has said, I can walk into a house where there's a divorce without anyone even saying a word, because she could feel that, all that low vibration. It's permeated in the very air they were breathing. So she said, I hated selling those houses from a divorce because I could feel that this was just waiting to get spilled onto the next owners.
Oh my.
That's how much this stuff is toxic to us. It's not like the next owners, they could be a newlywed couple and happy and they love each other and we're going to have this great life together. And they can sit in that energy and suddenly they're poking at each other or they're nitpicking at each other.
Now, would you be able to go in and clear that energy?
Absolutely.
That's another
It's
wonderful
another
thing.
Really great thing to get rid of.
I would suggest that
Oh.
so that if you are a happy person and you work at being happy because you're always thankful for everything you possibly can be thankful and grateful for, that you would want an environment, especially your own personal little sacred space, to be cleared of any negativity.
Yes, absolutely. I don't want to sit in toxic energy. I don't feel good in it. Nobody feels good in it. But here's the problem. You walk into a toxic environment, and remember I talked about this range, and to make it easy, we're going to say this way down. You walk into a toxic environment, and this energy of toxicity is now pushing on all of mine, all of my lower vibration, even though I can come in my higher vibration. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I'm compassionate, I'm loving, I'm tolerant. All of that goes out the window when you're around toxicity.
It's contagious.
It's literally contagious. Oh. It will spill onto you, and it's like poking at you, like constantly poking at you, poke, 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 poke. And pretty soon, you're a little irritated, and pretty soon you're just a little bit off. And all this great mood, little things start to go wrong, and then it starts to snowball and get bigger and bigger. And then the next thing you know, you're snapping at each other. Yes. And then the next thing you know, you're in a heated argument. And that's where, they say, oh, the passionate makeup. No, thank you. No, thank you. It's not necessary. Because it puts you in a cycle of going into these lower vibrations within you because they're there. Now, what I also want people to know is this does not have to be part of your human experience. We believe that this is all part of being a human being. I had somebody say that to me one time. Well, I don't mind getting rid of this, but Mary, the full range of emotions, that's why we're here on this planet, to experience all of it. I 100% disagree. 100%. We're not here to be yelling at each other. We're not here to be arguing with each other. We're not here to be labeling people and calling them nasty names. That's not what we're here to be doing. But it's become so conditioned and so part of the human experience that people just think it's normal.
Yes, so they're pointing the fingers and they're really not paying attention that, oh, well, where's your thinking? What are your thoughts and what are your emotions?
Exactly.
What's not in check? Because if we have that uneasiness about us, you know that we're setting ourselves up for, let's say, disappointing ourselves.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that way. I want people to know and understand that these lower vibrations do not have to be. You do not have to walk around angry. You do not have to walk around feeling sour or sad or depressed. None of these are normal, and it's actually not who we really, really are. It's not our true nature. It's just the conditioning we've got on this planet that we think this is normal, and it is not. Please, if I can stress, if anyone, please, if you walk away tonight with remembering something from me, it's these lower negative, unhappy feelings are not normal. We experience this as normal because this is what people experience, but it's not meant to be that way. I like Eckhart Tolle, and I want to quote from him tonight. I'm reading from the book, The New Earth. He was known for The Power of Now. That's his big book. And I love him as much as I love Marshall because they both get it. Eckhart Tolle talks about how, he calls it the pain body. So when I'm describing with these negative emotions, or this unhappiness, or these lower vibrations, as I'm now calling it tonight, these are what he calls the pain body. And it covers up who we really are.
So are we talking about guilt and jealousy and judgments and
Blame
the disconnections,
and shame.
good, bad?
It's all part of what we do when we get into those lower emotions. So I wanted to let you know what Eckhart Tolle says about it. He calls it the ego also. We've got our ego and then we've got our consciousness. So you can't be in one, or you can only be in one or the other. You can't be in both simultaneously. It doesn't work that way. That's why when I said, like, let's use a divider, and up here is happy and or high, and here halfway down is all these are low. This is what I would call the ego. The happy or the high is what he would call the conscious. So let me tell you what he says about the ego. A person in the grip of the ego, however, does not recognize suffering as suffering, but will look upon it as the only appropriate response in a given situation. The ego, in its blindness, is incapable of seeing the suffering it indicates on itself and on others, or inflicts on itself and others. Unhappiness is an ego-created mental emotional disease that has reached epidemic proportions. It is the inner equivalent of the environmental pollution of our planet. Negative states such as anger, anxiety, hatred, resentment, discontent, envy, jealousy, and so on are not recognized as negative, but as totally justified, and are further perceived not as self-created, but as caused by someone else or some external factor. I'm holding you responsible for my pain. This is by what the implication the ego is saying. It's not who we are. This is what I work on people to get rid of. These are the blocks that will create unhappiness in your life over and over